Some hope on the horizon. Phil Duncan from weatherwatch.co.nz. Phil, nice to see you.
Kia ora, good morning. Thank you.
We are on the cusp of the coldest month of the year. Having said that, though, it's not a bad day where I live. I mean, I know, look, it's different in different parts of the country, and it's going to be particularly miserable in the South Island over the weekend. But this is the season we're in. Every now and again, you get thrown a nice day curveball, but generally, it's colder than it used to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the peak of the cold. Although I wrote an article the other week for Farmers Weekly talking about when is our coldest time of the year, because
Yeah.
you're taught at school and you taught geography that it's usually sort of the July August period. But I've seen in New Zealand we've had cold snaps in autumn that have been worse than winter.
Okay.
It all depends on where the high pressure systems are parked. At the moment, they're actually encouraging colder air around the South Island quite frequently. The South Island's had a number of days with polar air flows, and that's going to continue going into next week. But the further up the country you go, the less likely it is to be in that polar airflow. So we're seeing the very north of New Zealand warmer than average, and the south of the country a bit colder than average, and those in the middle sort of either way in central New Zealand. So this weekend's cold blast isn't that major. I mean,
Okay.
we've got a number of wind and rain warnings, as you just mentioned, from Met Service. They're out at the moment ahead of this low. Once the low actually arrives on Friday, Saturday, it all falls apart, and by Sunday, many places are dry and settled and frost returning. And next week, there's a lot of high pressure around, even though there might be another low coming in pretty much 1 week from now. Bad timing for those that aren't on school holidays to have it for another weekend.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the pattern we're in at the moment. So I think actually overall, the weather's been pretty kind to us in the last few weeks.
Has been cold in the south, and that is likely to continue. The other thing about this time of the year, and we're heading into the school holidays, where for some families, if this is what they're into and they can afford to do so, it's a bit of skiing, perhaps. Is that going to be possible at the ski fields this year?
I think so. I mean, the South Island, one positive about having all this polar air around is you can make snow with it.
Yeah.
So, like, ideal conditions around the South Island. The North Island's a lot more borderline, as it has been for a few years now.
Yeah.
There is some snow coming in this weekend on Mount Ruapehu, so there's some good news. But when it's surrounded by these warm subtropical winds, it's not much use. It's sort of one step forwards, one step backwards.
Yeah.
We're not truly in a wintry grip for the North Island this year. It's been far more marginal around the North Island. So we'll see what July holds, but it does look as though July kicks off with kind of where we've been for the last couple of weeks. Big high pressure zones, westerly driven weather, and southerlies and northerlies that are both kind of short-lived, but give us these bursts of warm weather followed by some colder weather.
Hey, wanting to focus on what's happening in the Northern Hemisphere, because it's a bit weird what's happening in particularly in the northeastern part of the United States. They're calling it a heat dome at the moment. Some pretty sticky temperatures in that part of the world, Phil.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's a little bit like us. It's all about high pressure and where is high pressure parked, the anticyclones. So of course in the Northern Hemisphere, they're not called anticyclones because they track clockwise.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so it's a little different. So when you look at the maps of North America at the moment, you see this giant high in the northeast, and what it's doing is it is dredging up all these warm airflows from further to the south. And so in that part of the world, you've got like the Gulf of Mexico further south of the United States, but also out to the southeast, you've got Bermuda and places like that. So they've got these warm airflows coming inland, nothing cold to blow it away.
Yep.
It's like when we've got a big high over us dragging down tropical airflows in the middle of summer, and we've got a nor'wester to boot. So they've got some pretty hot weather, and it's unlike our weather in New Zealand. Their heat is just caused by the sort of high pressure parked over them. A lot of our highest temperatures are caused by a strong nor'wester. So they don't necessarily have a lot of wind, which makes it very hot, humid, pretty rough weather. Not the sort of weather we get a lot of in New Zealand, because as I say, our biggest heat is often caused by a bit of wind.
Yeah, and nice to have the breeze on a summer's day, whereas for people in the United States, it's like Florida has come to Boston, and they're just
Yes.
not used to it in Boston, right?
That's right. It's like when we get Fiji coming to Auckland or Fiji coming to New Zealand. People don't sleep as well, and even though we all love to go to those sorts of places to get that warm weather, sometimes it does feel very strange when it comes to our part of the world. So
Eh,
yeah, pretty hot weather going on there. While we've got subtropical winds at the moment today.
Exactly, and hey, even in Fiji, it's nice to have an island breeze, isn't it? But not so
That's
much
right.
in the northern hemisphere. Hey, people can keep up to date, and look, if this is something, particularly if you're heading into the school holidays, because I know for parents planning the school holidays, you'll need to have, okay, this is something that you might want to get up to, but here's the rainy day alternative. If you're wanting to plan your school holiday calendar, I thoroughly recommend the Weather Watch app. It's available for you to download and a useful tool. And hey, get the kids involved with it as well. They can be involved in looking at what the weather's going to be doing and making decisions accordingly. Further details, of course, weatherwatch.co.nz. Phil, thanks for the good work that you do. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.